Oh god. I don't even have my cam anymore. Where's my cam? There we go. And I apologize. I apologize for the stream going down. Those that are curious, it was all over the news, but there have been some pretty horrendous Sydney storms going through the past couple of days, like the past 2-3 days. There's been a lot of flooding going on, and as a result, the internet has been a little bit shaky as of late. So I do apologize for the drop, but everything is back. Everything should be looking normal, and we can get back into Solar versus Oliveira. Again, we were in the middle of game number 1, and we can just dive right back into it. Huh. Man. Here we go. Okay. we didn't miss out on too much here, as when the stream went down, I was notified. But again, we're getting into our openers, and Solar, of course, getting into his 4-base saturation. 5th base is on the way. I was just bringing up that he did go for a faster Evo chamber build here to go into faster 1-1, faster upgrades. Did delay his lair and his bailing speed as a result, and here we go. We do have a double drop going into the main. Liberator finally does pull the trigger, finally does head towards the natural as well. But so far, Solar, he is keeping up. He's able to keep up barely with the drop in the main base. At the same time, we have a Hellion push towards that gold base. We're going for the drones. But alas, we don't commit. The drones are going to be saved. We deflect the drop in the main. Likewise, we deflect the Hellions, and the Liberator is cleaned up. It was a tri-pronged attack from Oliveira, and it does not get enough done. Gets 3 drones, but only 3 workers. Whew. Solar does hold. Oliveira, he's going to have to back off. Behind this, getting his 4th CC in between his bases, getting into tank production, taking his gases, working towards a 2nd factory as well. So Oliveira is not going for a 3-base all-in. He's taking up, he's going for a longer game. That was an intense moment looking at the units. Sorry, I'm just a little bit frazzled. But a medevac did go down, a good chunk of Marines as well. Solar, he's holding, and he is getting this goal base up and running, getting into Lingbane Hydra as his composition of choice. I spoke about it earlier, but again, Solar, he's not really one to rely too much on roaches. Far more on Lingbane Hydra instead. As he's going to be pushing here towards the south. Towards the bases of Solar. Solar in position here. The tanks, though, not a bad spot for Oliveira. But we coming from behind. The mass surround is upon us, and Solar, he completely swallows this up. Lingbane crashes on board. The Queen's one lin as well. And Oliveira is going to lose everything. Ay. And with that, Oliveira, he loses so much momentum as well. That was 2 dead tanks. Some medevacs went down as well. Big chunk of Marines. Back at home again. Thankfully, Oliveira isn't all in, but he loses all the map control. He has to back off. He has to take a more defensive position. Tanks are sieging. Towers are getting up and running, and we saw potential with drop play, don't get me wrong, but Solar, he is free to do whatever he wants now. He can drone up to 80, and he's up to 88 workers. Hive is on the way. Lurker Den, 2-2. Burrow as well, because why the hell not? And he's just spreading his creep to his heart's content. So much creep here in the center of the map. And Oliveira, he can't stop this. Not anymore. Not anymore, as Oliveira is going to try and go for some drop play from here. But it has been delayed just because he had to kind of recoup his losses and get ready for potentially a counterattack. Drop is going to be coming in. Again, we're just trying to clear up some creep. Trying to maintain or trying to gain map control here. Solar, he's free to just pick all of this off, and he's going right for the planetary. There is a tank on the high ground, but only one. Ooh, big tank shots. Oh my god. Solar, he has to back off. He has to respect it, but he is now maxed out. We did have a double drop towards the south, but it looks like it was caught. It was cleaned up. Oliveira, though, in position, does deflect one of these prongs. Behind this, we have Grew Spines on the way. Hive is done. Adrenal in production, soon to be 3-3 as well. Now, Oliveira, he has been able to max out. He has since remaxed. But pushing onto creep is going to be so dangerous. And he doesn't want to get surrounded. He has to take this slow and steady. As he does gain, or he does, of course, take advantage of that forward. Do we have any Vipers? That's the real question. We have 2 Vipers. Gathering up energy. They're still not ready. They're not ready yet. But we need those Vipers to deal with these tanks. A nice tank spread here from Oliveira. Oh my, that's beautiful. Avoiding those blinding clouds. But regardless, still a lot of creep to work through. A lot of map to work through. Solar getting ready for a surround. Moving to come in from behind as well. And actually going for a big counterattack, going right for the planetary. The planetary is going to go down, and 2 more CCs as well. That's 3 bases gone down the drain. And now Oliveira, he has to commit. He has to push in. Once again, pre-splitting his tanks. Oh my god, the movement. Tank shot's going to be going off. Baganomi loses 21 SCVs, and this 3rd base is compromised. It's so vulnerable, and yeah, we can go right for it. The boys, they're being pulled. At the same time, Oliveira, he's completely all in. He's got to keep on pushing. Blinding clouds are being forced out. He gets some of the Bailings. Does get on top of some of those Bailings as he keeps on pushing. Meanwhile, back at home, he lost his 3rd. He's down to 2 bases. Oliveira will take down this gold. 44 SCVs have gone down. But Oliveira, he is up in army supply. He is all in, but this army is terrifying. Oh, the tanks are bunching up, though. Do we have any Vipers? We have 1 Viper remaining. 1 Viper here for Solar. Oliveira going to be splitting up his tanks, continuing to push on forward. 3-3 still on the way for Solar, and we're going in. We go for this round. Blinding clouds on top of the tanks, and it looks like there just aren't enough Marines. The Lings, they do collapse here. We get on top of everything, and Oliveira has nothing left. GG gets called. He gets swallowed up, and Solar takes game number 1. Oh my god. GG. GG, well played. And a lot of this game did come down to the momentum that Solar got once he cleaned up the first army. The first push, that was the most important one. Once it went down, once Oliveira lost his first 2 tanks in his first army, immediately, bam, we joined up to 88, not even 80 workers, 88 drones. Took a 5th, took even a 6th base, teched up the Hive, tech to Lurkers. We didn't even need the Lurker tech, but we had it available. Got up to Vipers as well, and Solar, he ran away with it. GG, well played. This is also another big reason as to why Equilibrium is considered to be more Zerg favored. Is not just, of course, not just the goal base, but also because it's so large, there's so much room to maneuver through. And you know, when Oliveira was forced all in, there was just so much. He was still halfway across the map. He still had so much more ground to cover to actually get onto any important bases of Solar. So he had so much time to just rebuild and remax his Ling Bane and deal with that army. And now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Game number 2 is going to be on Hecate. Hello, Werehog. Oh, the first Quacker. Welcome, welcome. Bienvenidos. We are settling into this and spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Onside. Leading the series 1-0, it is Solar. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Chinese Terran player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Oliveira. Go. As Oliveira did have a pretty standard opener in the previous. I mean, I say standard opener. I mean, winding it back, we had some shenanigans going on, if you remember, where we had Oliveira kind of faking out a Banshee opener, getting into Liberators, trying to catch his opponent off guard. Did do some damage, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it did still come down to that first push. The push that Solar was just so ready for and completely shut down. We'll see if Oliveira can have a little bit more success here in game 2. As for now, Solar is going for a hatch gas pool opener. Everything looking normal, everything looking standard. Everything looking as it should. And we're not going for any kind of crazy proxy shenanigans. Oliveira, he's willing to proxy, he's willing to cheese, don't get me wrong, but won't be doing so here, won't be doing so this game. Not this time. So behind this, Solar just going for his own opener as well. We're going to be settling into this for the most part. You can see our players just setting up their camera location hotkeys. Getting ready for that later game. Hecate, another one of those larger maps as well, which is a little bit more known for its split map scenario. Not as much as Alcyone or Equilibrium, but up there nonetheless. And Oliveira is going for his racks expand into the factory. Once again, no 2 racks. Oliveira has done it before, but for whatever reason, he's not as in love with it as some of these other Korean Terrans like Cure or Byun. Oliveira is not about that Reaper life. Not as much as some of the others. Speaking of, Reaper is going to be dancing across the map. Ooh, Solar did actually make an extra pair of wings just to be safe. Went up to 6. As he's getting his third base on location. Likewise, Oliveira going for another 3cc opener as well. Last game it was 3cc with a faked out Banshee into Viking and Lib instead. And we'll see what we go for this time. So we have our add-on swap to get to Hellions. Should be seeing our starport as well with a tech lab. And even if we see an add-on swap with Oliveira, it doesn't have to mean Banshee. Not anymore. So I have no idea what the hell he's doing. As that starport is in production, tech lab is on the way. I would usually say, oh, Banshee, but I mean, I guess it would make sense here in game 2 for Oliveira to go for this opener and actually commit to Banshees this time as opposed to the previous game, just to mix it up. So that would make sense here for Oliveira, but we'll see. We'll see what he does decide to go for. As there's the add-on swap in. Do we go Viking first again? We do not. Banshees are on the way this time. Do love to see it. Here we go. We do have the Hellions and Reapers moving out across the map. Going to be threatening that hatchery. No real damage though. So Oliveira is forced back. You woke up late. You missed a lot. Ah, hello, complete. Hello. We've been live for how many hours? 3 hours already. I can't believe it. You missed the stream going offline for a moment. The stream did just go down and we just came back. Again, I do apologize for that. The stream did die for a moment. But I can't believe it's already been 3 hours. It honestly feels like we just went live. I mean, I guess we did, but you know what I mean. Ooh, as your Overlord does dive in, does get confirmation of the 1-1-1 of the Banshee as well. Did see the cloak. As soon as the Overlord went down, we canceled the cloak. Hoping to force an overreaction out of Solar as spores are on the way. Here comes that first Banshee, going right for that natural. Sorry, going right for the third. And Cloak would have been useful here. Would have been a little bit useful. We get 2 worker kills, we back the hell off. At the same time, Hellions going to be threatening a dive into the natural, but we have Queens and Lings in position. Solar is ready for it. Hellions, they do clean up quite a lot of creep here in the center of the map. They're not going to be committing though. Behind this, we do have quite a Rax explosion as well, getting up to 5 Raxes, working towards our 3rd CC, getting into a 3-base setup. Everything looking normal so far. Now what's interesting is that this game, Solar did go for a safer build. If you remember, last game he delayed his lair, he delayed his Bailey Nest for faster 1-1 upgrades. This game, he got a faster lair instead, and he got delayed Evo Chambers. So safer play overall by Solar. a little bit concerned about earlier aggression or a Hellbat push. 1-1 is on the way, but at the same time as Bailing speed. Again, Solo just playing it out safely here in game 2. Hellions are going to be threatening a dive. Base slowly getting up and running. We're actually doubling down here on Rax production as well. Initially we had 5, but now we have 3 more on the way. Oliveira, he's going for a 3 base all-in. He is rushing into 8 Raxes, which means he shouldn't be taking gases at the 3rd. He shouldn't be throwing down the 2nd factory. Now, this should be all we get when it comes to production. And Oliveira, he's going to be just hammering down that pedal and not slowing down at all. Meanwhile, Solus teching. I don't know if you saw, but Hydrogen. He threw down a Hydrogen. Investing into Hydras right now is the last thing he needs to do. We need nothing but Ling Bane. We need to focus on the defense. Solus double expanding. Taking more hatcheries. Oh, he's investing into Hydra range. Ling Bane is pushing out. Catching some reinforcements. Oliveira does push forward. Solo getting ready for the surround. He is behind the army, and once again he's going to collapse on this position. Oh, and he just swallows this up once again. Tanks go down. We save a handful of Marines. But Sola does clean this up. And once again, a big blow here for Oliveira. Like, it's... like this, we're all in, Papi. Losing the tanks is brutal. He's building it up once again. Now, what would be scary here is, like, Solo's gonna be feeling pretty good about that. Again, he cleaned up the army. He has some breathing room. If he's too greedy from here, then he would be in a lot of trouble. Like, Solo, he hasn't scouted the main. He doesn't know how much is coming his way. He hasn't seen the 3rd. He doesn't see the lack of gases. He doesn't realize how committed Oliveira is. Like, again, Oliveira, he's cutting workers at 54. He's not even saturating his 3rd. Solar, he's droning up to 80. Should be working towards... Oh, no Hive. If he was working towards a Hive, I think it'd be okay because Vipers can be really influential here. But he's staying on... Yeah, he's just now going for the infestation bit. Prioritizing Hydra production instead. And Oliveira, he's moving out with the 2nd wave. Fun fact, Oliveira, he is up in army supply once again. Knocking down those rocks, moving towards the fresh mining bases of Solar. Solar going for a counterattack instead. There isn't much to kill though. There's not many SCVs and we're just diving in. A mass amount of Marines. How many Marines do we have? 83. We got on some of the Bailings. How good are the splits? How good is the target firing? As Solar is taking down this 3rd base, but Oliveira, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the 3rd. As he breaks into the natural, not enough Bailings. Tanks are getting in position. Solar trying to come in from behind, but alas, the Bailings, they get knocked down. Solar, he's racing back home, but only with Lings. Tries to go for the surround. The army is overstimmed, and we barely do save one of those tanks. The Bailings, they do not connect. GG gets pulled. Oliveira breaks Solar. He ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. GG. GG, well played again. Oliveira just going for a 3 base all-in, or not even, again, just barely, like 2.5 base all-in, essentially, and 8 racks out of Oliveira. And what was surprising to me is that we usually see 8 racks on maps like Oceanborn, Golden Ore is another one. Very rarely on Hecate, just because of how large it is. And we saw that Solar did shut down that first push, but again, was maybe feeling a little bit too overconfident, was taking up, getting into Hydras, double expanding, and I do think that that Ling Bane counterattack from Solar was a mistake. As we pointed out, like, Oliveira didn't care about his 3rd, didn't care that he was losing SCVs, didn't care, well, he preferred even that Solar was wasting Banelings across the map instead of having them back at home to defend, and yeah, Oliveira, he just went straight for the kill, went straight for the throat. We're going to game 3. All the way. All the way. Ooh. Oliveira looking weak? Oh, true. That's why he won. Aye. I mean, that could be, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that could be referring to the initial push, true, but I mean, really, he was just luring Solar into a false sense of security there as we're getting into the ace match, into game number 3. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing on side. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the reigning world champion representing CranKy Gaming. It is Oliveira. Here we go. We have our ace match. Again, that Arax catching Solar off guard. But what do we have in store for us here in game number 3? Some people will never forgive Oliveira for winning a championship he wasn't supposed to. Oh my god. Shaking my head. Oliveira, literally a world champ, literally the world champion. To be fair, I do know that the Chinese community is really harsh on Oliveira because he's a champion, they expect a lot from him. And I know he expects a lot from himself as well. I think Oliveira, he's spoken about it. He's spoken about how like after the win, like he I don't know if he burned out, but like he had a really hard time afterwards, like really being motivated just because of the bar that he set for himself. The bar that had been set by everyone even as well. It's why if you're familiar with WTL season or the WTL summer season, Oliveira did take a bit of a step back. Oliveira wasn't actually being fielded that often in World Team League summer, and he was kind of taking a break from the game. I do know that in it wasn't the Doyu forums, but on the Chinese forums, a couple of Chinese fans were even like speculating that that Oliveira would even retire. But then come the winter season of not just WTL but also of ESL Masters, Oliveira came back strong. And it's been great to see Oliveira come back into the forum over the past 2 months. Over the past 2 months of play, Oliveira has been looking on fire. So it's been really cool to see him return to the game after a bit of a break, after, of course, IEM and after WTL Summer. It was also, I shouldn't forget to mention this as well, Oliveira was also demotivated during the summer season because if you remember, he didn't get to play in Yongshipping. He didn't get to play in DreamHack Yongshipping because of visa issues. So he actually, there was like, he missed out on Yongshipping. He also missed out on Home Story Cup. Like Oliveira couldn't participate, he couldn't play, he couldn't compete because of visa issues. Like it was so heartbreaking at the start of the year, and that also led into him like losing some motivation and taking a break. So I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for like things out of his control working against Oliveira at the start of the year. But now he's back. Now he's here. And from here, we have another 3cc opener. Very economic out of Oliveira. Here we go. See, he soloed. Yeah, mate. His solo. Oh, his solo at the end of the 2022 season of WTL was insane. Where he just carried DKZ, carried his team so hard in those playoffs. It was beautiful. This was before WTL Summer. This was right after IM Katowice. But here we go. Do you have Oliveira going to be threatening that third base? Again, going for an economic opener this time, going for his 1-1-1. This time, no add-on swap. He's going for a Hellion Liberator opener with faster stim instead. Getting into the swing of things. Likewise, Solo also going to be joining. I'm curious if Solo is going to be going for a double evase again or going for a safer opener instead. That's kind of the only variations that Solo has really been going for. Either prioritizing upgrades or delaying them. So Everlord does go in for a scout, does confirm, of course, the tech lab on the racks, which means no Banshees. Means Stim is on the way. And you can see that Solar has correctly identified that the Liberator should be in production, so he's throwing down his spores, getting ready for those libs. So So far, Solar, he's able to keep up with Oliveira. Now, the goal here for Oliveira is to distract the queens. Either distract the queens with the libs or distract the queens with the Hellions. It's going to be a dual-pronged attack here from Oliveira. Oh, but the Spore's in position, and we don't even have to react with the queens. Oh, as the lib takes a lot of hits. And that means we can focus on the Hellions. Hellions do not find a way in. Meanwhile, across the map, Ling's going for their own run-by. Oliveira getting into his 3-rack setup. Ling slip in, and oh, they get on top of the Marines. The wall was not a wall. These Marines are going to be going down. We pull the boys, but a little bit too late. And every Marine is going to fall. We even get some SCVs as well. Hellions, they're racing back home. It's only going to be 2 SCVs. That could have been so much worse. But 2 SCVs, that's still more than should have happened. Again, Oliveira, just a late reaction. Lost his units. This also alleviates a lot of pressure. It meant that the Hellions had to race back home. It means that Solar, he's free to saturate. And he did, in fact, go for faster Evo chambers. So he's going to be cutting some corners, being greedy, getting into better upgrades, delaying his lair, now working towards it, of course, and now working towards his Banelings. But Solar, he's getting into the mid-game in a really nice position. Meanwhile, my eyes are on Oliveira. How do we approach this? These tank pushes from Oliveira, they've been lacking a little bit. Let's be real here. Both in Game 1 and even in Game 2, the game that he won, his first 7-minute push has left much to be desired just because of the positioning of Solar. This is also where we should also emphasize as well, because it feels like people... I keep bringing it up, and every now and then whenever I mention it, like there's someone in chat that's like, what? Like, Solar, he is our most recent GSL champion. Like he... Literally, like 2 weeks ago. On 3 weeks ago, even. Solar is also in form right now. As Marines are pushing on 4, they clean up quite a bit of this creep. Queen's going to be able to zone Oliveira back. You have the Hydrogen on the way, getting into 2-2. So far, Solar able to keep up with Oliveira. Like, arguably, Solar is the best Zerg player in Korea right now. I know. I know that we have a lot of Dark fans, which is true. Dark is a strong player, don't get me wrong, but Solar has been looking in form so far. Nice baits here on those Widow Mines. Solar gonna be pushing on forward, forces this back. At the same time, push here on the right-hand side, even with some Hellbats mixed in. Oliveira cleaning up quite a lot of creep, trying to push towards that third. Is in position. Behind this, we have a 4CC on the way. Unlike the previous game, this is not a 3-way soul in out of Oliveira. He is going for a longer game. Looks like Solar has identified that. Devastation bit on the way. Hydrogen as well. Working on Lingbane Hydra once again. Now, what's important is that Oliveira hasn't been throwing anything away. Remember what I mentioned earlier? It's, oh, the mines. Ooh, the Bailey's a crash on forward. We clean up the Hellbats, most of the Marines as well. I was about to mention that I was being critical of these tank pushes, these 7-minute tank pushes from Oliveira, how they haven't really been achieving much. This game is going to be avoiding that. Ooh, the friendly fire though. The mines helping Solar a little bit there as well. And Oliveira still does end up losing his drops. He does lose his pushes. And that's brutal, because this means that Oliveira loses map control, loses momentum, and Solar, he is free to drone up. He's up to 83 workers. Solar is about to max out on Ling, Bane, Hydra. Doesn't have the best tech to work with. He's still working on the Lurker Den and the Hive, but he's about to max out. Oliveira, when you're going for a drop play like this, you have to be very careful with your armor. You have to be very tentative with it, and alas, Oliveira just wasn't able to keep his units alive. The Lib does delay the expansion, but will get shut down. And Solar's getting ready for his eventual push. With that 200 supply army, 2-2 is about to kick in for the Zerg player. Ooh, big mine shot though. Big mine shot going to be going off here on those Lings. Solar splitting off an attack force, just to make sure he's able to get his base up and running. Gets highest on the third. Solo's been maxed out for a while here, but Oliveira, he's catching up. Solo's been a little bit too busy trying to keep up with the drop play instead. So Oliveira, he's closing that gap. Is catching up in supply. Marines are getting picked off. Here we go. Solo is now focusing on his push. Oliveira has also reached max supply, but he has a lot of supply here towards the south. Not where it needs to be. So he's rotating around. Does take a mine shot to the face. Oh, oh my god. So we have another mine ready to go as well. Oliveira trying to buy time, trying to distract Solo's army. Keeping Solo busy. There we go. As the mine drops are being cleaned up, Oliveira can now push through. He's not set up though. Liberator is still on the way. Bailey, they crash into the Widow mines. Most of the mine shots do not go off. Oh, and the big fungal as well. The fungal's a little bit too good, and Oliveira, he has to back off. Ay, ay, ay. He was just not ready for that fight. Had to engage in the midst of his Widow mines burrowing and his Liberator sieging up as well. Oliveira did such a great job at maxing out here, keeping up with Solar, but now he has to back off, lick his wounds, rebuild his army, take another base. And Solar's comfortable again. He is comfortable again. We're going to deny that base. Viper's on the way. Still no lurkers. Being run by slipping into that mineral line. Even burrowing as well. And it looks like we haven't noticed. The links are still there. Gonna be able to unburrow it at a moment's notice. We're pushing through the center. Oliveira, he is remaxing once again, but here come those lings. They get into the mineral line. SCVs are going down. And this forces back the army. Exposing the libs. That's all that Solo wants here. He crashes into the army, takes down the Liberators, and then backs off. Oh, we can keep on pushing. There we go, forcing out that scan, cleaning up those lings. It's 10 dead SCVs, and we reset the lib count once again. We also have a cheeky infestor here behind the army. We're looking for the fungal. Solar building up the bank. Unlike some of these other maps, this isn't the most defendable map here for Oliveira. A nice pre-split. There goes Solar collapsing on the army once again. The Widowmine's not quite ready. They go up, they connect with the detection. Big fungal on the ghosts. And GG is going to get called. Oliveira, he just loses far too much over the course of this game. And Solar snowballs out of control, taking the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Solar will take it again, just shutting Oliveira down throughout that entire game. Whenever Oliveira tried to move out of the map, Solar, he was there to just swallow up the army every single time. And yeah, really well done here by Solar. My condolences to Oliveira. He did really well making it to the semifinals. For those who are maybe not aware, Oliveira did take down Dark to make it to the semis as well. He stopped the ZVZ. He stopped Dark's run early on. So a good pick off there from Oliveira. Wasn't able to take down Solar, but taking down Dark is no easy feat. So really well done nonetheless. As we get ready for our next series here, we casted them earlier. Creator, he took down Cure 2-1, advancing on to the finals, which means we have the grand finals of ESL Open Cup Asia 203. It's going to be Solar versus Creator in a best of 5. Here we go. And I feel like a lot of people sleep on Creator, kind of like how they sleep on Cure as well. I mean, Creator, he's a very strong Protoss player in his own right. I do feel like oftentimes he's overshadowed by, obviously, Hero, but by Classic as well. For good reason. Both Hero and Classic have been getting some better results, especially in offline events. But Creator, he's still a threat as well. He's still an amazing Protoss player in his own right. And what I love about him is that he's a very unique player, especially in PvZ. He has his own playstyle. Whereas Hero and Classic are more aggressive in nature, Creator, he's a little more defensive. I think the closest player I often relate him to is Showtime. Showtime is obviously very defensive and very tech heavy. Creator oftentimes is very similar as well. But here we go. We're getting ready for the grand finals. And game 1 is going to be on Hard Lead. Let's go. Solar's been such a monster recently. Yeah, I mean, Solar, he has had arguably the best ZVZ in the world, where he's like the kryptonite of Serral, right? Like, time and time again, Solar, he just kind of spanks Serral in ZVZ. It's wild how consistently Solar can beat Serral. Not just Serral, but Raynor and a lot of the other Zerg players as well. But it is really cool to see that kind of translate to some of the other matchups and to some other tournament results as well. With Solar being our GSL champion, and with Onside Gaming also currently first place in WTL. I mean, you have a team with Solar and Maru. I mean, they're arguably the best team in the world. They were the best team in the world for the first half of the year. Maybe for the entire year, actually. Very possible. Basilisk have been having a hard time against them. But we'll see. We'll see if that trend continues here for Solar as we're getting into game 1 of our finals. Cheering him on is just too heartbreaking. Just when it seems he's going to have his breakout moment, he gets the yips. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's so easy to get behind Creator as well. He's so wholesome. So wholesome. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and we all have to appreciate that. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Hard Lead. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing Club NV, the Red Protoss. It is Creator. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg representing Onside. It is Solar. Here we go. And we'll see how Creator does approach this. Again, it's been a while since since I've had the luxury of casting Creator. We used to cast him like on a weekly basis, but this season we've been casting a little bit less Creator. Just happens to be like the nature of the brackets, and we just haven't been able to catch him, unfortunately. But it's great to see him here once again. Now, when I refer to Creator in his tech-heavy style, especially on larger maps, I'm talking about Alkyone, I'm talking about even Golden Aura, Solaris, and Hecate, we would see Creator go for basically delays Twilight Council, go for a faster Forge, go for a faster Robo, get into a heavy Archon and Immortal count, delaying his upgrades, whether it's Blink or Charge, being less active on the map and going for these kind of death pushes, these death balls instead. We've seen that so commonly out of Creator, and I expect to see that at least at some point in this series. Not every game, but that's kind of what he's known for. That's kind of his iconic playstyle. But we'll see what he goes for here this time. I do think that Creator, he thrives a lot in the mid game, but again, a very different playstyle compared to Hero and Classic. I think Hero and Classic, they're more aggressive and they're always in your face. Creator, a little bit less so. Not saying he can't play Standard, he can, but often he doesn't. And here we go. Based on this pylon positioning, it looks like a Stargate opener out of Creator. Probe is across the map, being as annoying as possible, delaying that expansion, or forcing the unnatural natural. Cybercore is done, and we have our tech of choice. It is going to be that Stargate from Creator. This should be leading into Oracles and leading into a third base. We'll see if Creator spices it up though, as he also has the option to go into Void Race or a Phoenix as well. With that, he can try to hide his tech and go for something very different. We have been seeing players like Classic and Nightmare be very fond of going into Skytraps, into a Fleet Beacon, into Tempest. Tempest Rushes, maybe a better way to put it. But I haven't seen Creator do that. I'll be honest. I haven't seen Creator really embrace that as much as the others. Maybe he has, but I haven't seen it yet. For now, it is going to be the Oracle first. Going to be getting across the map. Likewise, Adepts continuing to threaten that shade. Second Adept has arrived. We can one-shot workers. And so far, Solar, he is in position. We have Lings ready here at the third. Lings in the main. Queens as well. We commit to the shade. We do focus down one drone. We get a second, and we're going for a third. 3 worker kills. Not too bad. Going to be trading with the Lings. We want another. Up. Up. Oh my god. Barely gets the 4th worker. Not too bad. Pretty good damage here from Creator. Now, upon losing those Adepts, that triggers a counterattack. That means that, hold up, that means you don't have Adepts to protect your third base. Lings are zooming across the map to delay that third for as long as possible. Meanwhile, the Oracle has arrived. No Spore in the main. And we do focus down another 2, 3 workers, 7 in total. Not bad. But the third is nowhere to be seen. We're actually going for a Void Ray second. Interesting choice here from Creator. Instead of the standard double or even triple Oracle opener, it's a Void Ray. I believe we still intend to expand, and there we go. The probe is on the way to take a third. But yeah, very unique here. We're going to be shutting down the Overlord and denying any scouting information. Third base has been spotted. Oracle still looking for damage, forcing out even forcing some buildings. Again, Solar being punished for cutting corners, being punished for skipping his spores. 0 spores here for Solar. 1 now on the way. So pretty good economic damage overall, especially considering the Creator does keep the Oracle alive. But what's the follow-up tech? There it is, Forge and a Twilight Council. This is looking like +1 and Blink. A standard follow-up. The third base was late, I will say that. So the economy is a little bit delayed here for Creator. But we'll see if he can make up for it. Oh, the Stasis Trap does not go off. Void Ray looking for another Overlord kill. Well, we have the Transfuse. The Overlord will survive. And that is a third Oracle. Interesting. So it's a single Oracle into Void Ray into triple Oracle from Creator. Very unique kind of production setup here. Very unique, very interesting order of units from Creator. As again, he's just trying to catch Solar off guard. Does catch even more drones though. Getting 3, getting 5 more, but up. Oh my god, the Oracle barely gets picked off. Creator, he does fly too close to the sun. In total, that's 12 worker kills for 1 Oracle and 2 Adepts. I would say a good trade for Creator. It did come at a cost though. And the cost really was just, again, the delayed third. Meanwhile, Creator going for the Stasis Trap into the main base as well. Solar, does he react? He does! Does pull back in time. Void Ray just chipping away at those Lings. There's that +1 and Blink on the way. Void Ray did overextend for a moment. Does take some hull damage. Creator back at home, getting to his Blink Stalkers. How many gates in total? So far, 6 gateways, so nothing too major. Now, what's interesting is that this tech is a little bit delayed as well. Now the Robo gets thrown down. I'm a little bit concerned. Because of the late Robo, that means late Immortals, late Disruptors, late support for the Gateway Army. And it's going to be heavily reliant on Stalkers. Solar is getting up to 3 base saturation, working on a 4th, going for the Infestation bit even. Okay, we're rushing into what looks to be Hive. We also have +1 range on the way. So, because we're investing into range upgrades, not melee, this looks like a... Ooh, as we do force a cancel, as the army has arrived. Oh my god, just terrifying Solar here. Giving up on that base. But again, because we have the range upgrades instead of melee, this looks like Roach Ravager into potentially Hydras and Lurkers. That is kind of the... That is a more seamless transition here for Solar because of these upgrades. Speaking of, yeah, there you go. Speaking of, there's the Hydra Den, and with the Hive as well, we can go straight into Lurker upgrades. So, Solar's being a little bit cheeky here. He may be stuck at home, but he is taking up quite heavily. Into Hydras, into Lurkers, into the Hive, into Vipers as well. So, this is a really good way to kind of counteract this tech-heavy style from Creator. Creator, he doesn't have too many gateways. He's being active with some of these stalkers, but he's not going for any kind of committed pushes. That is a second robo on the way. Our robotic spay, he's getting into double Colossus production or double Disruptor production, either or. There we go. Colossus are on the way. This is good against Roach Ravager, Ling Bane, not so much against Lurkers. And I believe Creator is in the dark. I believe Creator, he did see the infestation bit. He should be aware. The infestation bit is a tell. So Creator's on a timer. We gotta go. So far we do see Solo just trying to distract the army, being active here on the right hand side. Creator does spot this. And the problem is that Creator, he needs time to get into his 2 and then 4 Colossi. That is a big power spike when he gets up to 4 Colossi, but if he waits that long, Solar will have Lurkers. Now the Warp isn't moving in the main base, but Solar, he's in position. And Solar just keeping up with all the aggression. He's not moving out. He's not trying to apply pressure to Creator, which is what Creator wants. That's the thing. Creator, he wants to try to defend against attacks and have his opponent throw away supply and crash into his setup. But Solar, he's not giving him what he wants. He's just taking up. He's like, okay, if you want to get into Colossi, that's fine. I'm gonna just get into Lunkers. You do you, Bobby. You do you. Here we go. Creator, he is moving out. Again, the pressure is on Creator to try to make something happen here and now, but Lunkers, they're already on the way. It's too late. It's soon to be too late. Now, thankfully for Creator, no Vipers. Still no Vipers are out. I spoke too soon. Vipers are on the way. This Creator is pushing on forward. The Lurkers are in position. Good revelation. We're going to try and dive on top of the Lurkers. Bold move here from Creator. He gets 1, he gets 2. Getting 3. Not bad. But he loses so much in the process. That was a bit of a Hail Mary play, diving on the Lurkers. Does keep his Colossi alive. There's only 2 left. Up. He gets on top of another. The Transfuse. The Transfuse keeps the Lunker alive. And finally, one is going to go down. Down to 1 Lurker, but again, Creator, he lost so much trying to break this position. Pushing into Lurkers is never an easy thing to do. Gets another, but 4 more finish up. And Creator, he's running out of steam. He's running out of units. The Viper arrives. We yoink the Colossus. And that should be all that Creator has left, especially with the Vipers. As I say that, we do get on top of it, though. Oh, can we pull this off? How many Lurkers? 0. 0 Lurkers left. And we still have 3 Colossus. We still have 2 Colossus. And Creator, he's doing it. He's pushing on through. He's breaking the space. But as I say that, this army is still so low. The Disruptor. The Nova goes off. Big connection. Massive connection on the Roaches. We dive on top of the army. GG gets called in. Creator barely breaks through. He takes down Solar in game 1. Oh my god. That was such a close attack. GG. Creator. Oh my god. Again, he was fully aware that he was on a timer. Bold move to dive on top of the Lurkers the way that he did. Clutch transfuses out of Solar as well. Barely keeping that one. There were like 6 transfuses on 1 Lurker. Keeping it alive for so long. But barely Creator. He got on top of them. He barely cleaned them up. And it was then and there. Like, he had to win the game at that point. Otherwise, it would just snowball in the opposite direction. As Solar almost got away with taking up into Lurkers, and Creator barely able to break him. GG. That was a game. Oh my god. That was wild. And with that, Creator, he does take a lead in this series, and now we're getting into game number 2. Oh. The Nova was pretty clutch. Yep, true. Very clutch. If it wasn't for that, it's also very possible that Solar holds. Like, the army of Creator was just so battered, so bruised. A lot of it deep in the red. And here we go. We're getting into game 2. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing Club NV, leading the series 1-0. It is Creator. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg representing onside down in the series, but it's a best of 5. Plenty of games are ahead of us. It is Solar. Oh, here we go. Creator made the smart moves to dive on top of the lurkers when they were low. 100%. I mean, again, like, he was... I almost want to say Creator was all in. Like, if he didn't get on top of the lurkers then and there, then Solo would snowball out of control. Like, the lurker count would get higher, the Viper count would get higher as well. He only had 1 Viper there for the defense. Like, that attack from Creator was very much so on a knife's edge. Like, that was the moment. Otherwise, he would have to back off, he would have to take a defensive stance and take up into Sky Toss. And he would have been late to take up into Sky Toss as well. So... that was intense. As we're getting into game 2, Solo going for a hatch gas pool, able to take his natural. Able to take a much more standard base layout here. As we're settling into game 2. We're catching up. I feel like the Brood War Lurkers was scarier. The Brood War Lurkers, it's really hard to compare StarCraft 2 and Brood War. Like, they're the same in name, they're both StarCraft, and they have the same units, but like, I feel like the units they play very different. I don't know if I want to say different roles, but they're just different units in general. Like, comparing the Brood War Ultra to the SC2 Ultra as well. Like, yeah. I would agree that the Brood War Lurker was more impactful, but at the same time, in general, units in Brood War were more impactful just because there's less of them on the screen and less to work with. Yeah, there's just a very different game. One that you can appreciate as well. I do appreciate Brood War. Here we go, we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. I think another big reason why lurkers, they're a little bit hit and miss in StarCraft 2 just because they have there's a period in the game where they're amazing, but then they do get outscaled depending on which matchup you're talking about. In ZVP, they get outscaled by Sky Toss, so you have to get out of lurkers. You don't want to get stuck on them. Likewise, against Terran, once Terran gets into Tank, Lib, Ghost, you have to get out of lurkers as well, because lurkers, they don't scale well into the late game. It's only really ZVZ where lurker, like Hydra Lurker Viper, like that is the late game of ZVZ. And really what you would be working on. Meanwhile, Adepts, they shade into the main base once again, getting 3 drones. Not as much as last time. In game 1, they got 4. But yeah, I think a big perception of the lurker in StarCraft 2 is because of that as well. The fact that in a lot of matchups they have a bit of, they don't have as much staying power. Maybe that's a better way to put it. They got outscaled that. Meanwhile, the Oracle does get into main base once again, finding more drones here. No Spore from Solar. Up. Doesn't get the Oracle. 3 more worker kills, 6 in total. We saw this last game. This is very a laser-esque. I don't know how I feel about it, but Solar, he just refuses to throw down spores. He's defending with purely Queen, which you can do, don't get me wrong, but is having a hard time maintaining control of his mineral lines. It's a high risk, high reward, where you want to try to cut corners and delay your spores for as long as possible, but at the same time you want to make sure you don't lose drones, otherwise it's not as worth it. So we do have a spore in between the bases, at least at the natural. Lings are moving out. And once again, Creator, he is taking up into that Forge, and that Twilight Council plus on and Blink should be on the horizon. Now, we saw that Creator, he only went up to 6 gateways in the last game, so he was only applying light pressure with his gateway army. He wasn't really committing with it. Really, his power spike as the Oracles, they get into the main once again, and once again, there is no Spore. 6 more drones go down. Now, at what point, how many drones have to die for a spore to be thrown down in the main? We get a spore at the third at least. Is that the third? And the natural. Both oracles did survive. They did recall back. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they did recall back home. Cool. Solar is getting into his lair. What was I referred to? Oh, yeah. The big power spike moment was Creator getting up to 4 Colossi. He had his first 2, then his second 2. That was his moment. But we'll see if he goes for a similar playstyle this time. As there's that Robo on the way. We are indeed going for Blink, not Charge. Word rate taking a lot of hits there. Everything was downgraded except Marines. Oh, man with gun. We don't have to talk about that. It's fine. As the Oracles, they're still not done, but oh my god, they're getting another 5 kills and they both escape. Greater. Calm down. I'm afraid to look here at the units lost tab, but that is 17. 17 worker kills for 2 adepts. Creator, mate. Getting so much economic damage done, and again punishing Solar for not throwing down those spores earlier. Oracle going to be threatening the main base this time. Solar's in position. Solar attempts to go for a link counterattack, but Creator, he does deflect him. And here we go. We have our gateway explosion upon us. We have 3 gateways done, 4 more on the way, 7 in total. And there is that Robo and Robotic Spade. Double Robo production once again. So 2 games in a row, Creator, he's going for that kind of tech-heavy Mass Colossus style. I'm reading this as Mass Colossus. Technically, he could go into double Disruptor production, but Colossi should be the name of the game here. And this time, Creator is very well set up for this. Like, he's on a solid 3-base economy, he's working towards his 4th, and Solar can't really touch him. Like, he can't really stop these Colossi from getting up and running. Solar, instead, he's going to be taking up. Once again, Infestation Pit, we do have the Hive on the way, +1 range. This looks very similar to the last game. This looks like we're working towards Hydras and Lurkers again. The difference is that this time Solar does have a safety Baneling Nest, so he can go into Lingbane Roach Ravager, which is a more solid and safer mid-game army. And just like last game, there it is, double Colossus production. Lings try to harass, but alas, we are in position. Creator, he does deflect the army. And again, he's only harassing with these adepts. He's only harassing with these stalkers. He's not committing to any kind of big push until his Colossus come out. This is why I refer to it, like, Showtime plays a very similar style to this. We just, basically, Showtime just turtles. And Creator, he's doing something similar. He's still harassing, don't get me wrong. We even have Zealots in the main base. But he's kind of building up his forces here, getting ready for his eventual real push. He's powering up. Stalkers have hit the field. They do run into the main army, though. Creator, he has to be careful. Bling Ravager coming from behind. An interesting Creator. He is not waiting for his 3rd and 4th Colossus. He's moving out with 2. A much earlier push this time. Hoping to catch Solar off guard. The War Prism has arrived. The Prism! No! The War Prism barely is going to escape. Oh my god, the Queen! No shot, the Queen survives. It takes down the War Prism. Not like this. Without the War Prism, we cannot reinforce. We have a backup Prism on the way. We can't reinforce, we can't juggle either. Creator, he's in a really difficult position here. Vipers are arriving, Banelings are finishing up. Show us the force fields. We need them. Decent force fields are thrown down, but the Colossi are exposed. Stay Strap barely does catch some of that army. Link's coming from behind, but they do get caught out. And Creator, he can keep pushing. But has he overextended? We need reinforcements. The Yoing comes in. We get 1 Colossus. We get the 2nd Colossus as well. Just barely, and we surround the army. Again, without the War Prism, we couldn't save the Colossi. We couldn't reinforce. Creator gets shut down. And there was no 4th base. There was no follow-up. It was all or nothing for Creator. And Solar survives. Solar, he's basically at 80 workers, has another base on the way. That was the scariest moment. That was the timing that Creator was building up towards, and alas, it was not good enough. Did not kill Solar, didn't even cripple him. It needed to at least take down the base. Now Creator's in a very difficult position. I mean, sure, he's building up another 2 Colossi, this is true, but this time, we have Vipers. We have 2 of them, full of energy, ready to abduct. Ready to shut down the army. Creator now taking a 4th. He's going to be stuck at home. Meanwhile, Solar working towards Adrenal, +2 melee. No Hydrogen this time. I do think that if Solar was taking up into Hydras, then Creator would have had a much better attack, more success. Big stasis trap. But where are the Colossi? We need them. Colossus just now coming out, but the Vipers have been waiting for them. If we commit, we can go for the abduct. The Oracle going ham. No anti-air. No anti-air. We're going to be able to pick off a couple of Ravagers. Solar just going to be remaxing. He's going to be remaxing, getting up to that 200 supply. You guys be very careful with those Vipers. And yeah, they're going straight for the Colossi. We get 1, and we get 2. Both glass they go. Oh, we do barely save one of them though. The power of the Warp Prism. We save a Colossus. Oh my god. I'm sure that's what Creator would have liked to have done earlier in the previous attack. But now Creator, he has a bit of momentum. He can push forward. The Vipers, did they survive? They did. The Vipers gathering up energy as quickly as they can. They need time. The Vipers, they need more time. This base is going to go down. Creator, he's close to maxing out. Getting himself with these Banelings. We get another yoink. And this time the Warp Prism is not there to save it. We're down to 1 Colossus. Hatchery goes down, but Solar did evacuate his workers. He did save everything. Still on 80 workers. Still on a solid drone count. Creator, he may have killed a base. That was good, but he needs more than that. He's going to be rotating around, clearing up as much creep as possible, getting into additional Colossi. Going for a bit of a split push. At the same time, a big link counterattack. Getting into the natural. Oh, and Creator is being caught out. Bit of an overextension here from Solar. Creator collapsing on this army. And ideally, he wants those Vipers. Oh! Oh, barely doesn't get them. Gets 1 volley off, but the Viper survives. Meanwhile, the Ling run by was cleaned up. We have another on the way. Going for the natural. But running into Colossus. The Vipers! 1 gets sniped. Big pickoff. Massive pickoff. Meanwhile, throughout all of this, Solar has been taking. He may not be going into Lurkers, but he's getting into Ultras instead. 3 Ultras are in production. Kindness Plating is about to finish up. Listing counterattack, finding a little bit of damage. The gateway is going to go down. Creator trying to find another hatchery. The Ling's doing a surprising amount here. They're going to be able to deny the warp-in. Oh my god. Depowering the Robo. Disrupting the production. Not too bad. Ultras have arrived. We do have a bit of a lull period here, and Creator had some momentum earlier, but Solar's stabilizing. Remember, he has been maintaining his worker count. Now getting into Ultras. Making use of his melee upgrades. Solar, he does want to get rid of these Roaches. Roaches, they are inflated supply. The Ultra Cavern! Oh! We get it! We take down the Ultra Cavern. We deny speed! Not kindness plating, but a good pickoff nonetheless. Creator. Popping off. Now, what I would love at this point, he has spotted the Ultras, so he's aware of that tech, so we're getting into Immortal production. I would have loved a Fleet Beacon as well. A Fleet Beacon to start working towards Sky Toss. We have a bit of moment. We have a moment to breathe here, so Creator, he can tech, but for now he's committing to Ground Toss. Oh! High Templar. High Templar is going to be forced to morph into the Archon. Ultras are breaking on through. Where's the rest of the army? The Colossus are exposed. The Stalkers are not where they need to be. 1, 2 Colossi go down. We're getting into the Mineral Line as well. The Stalkers, they come in from behind, but these are expensive losses here for Creator. Juggling these Colossi well. Ultras, they're getting on top of these Stalkers. We take down the Mineral Line. 16 probes go down. And Creator, he survives, he holds on, but that was a brutal fight. That was 5 Ultras for 3 Colossi, and 21 Stalkers went down. And Stalkers are very expensive units. They need to build up over the course of the game. Creator, he's all in. He's pushing onto creep. Exactly what Solar wants. As he snipes the Nexus. Solar, he's got 6 more Ultras on the way. As Lings, they take down one base, they're going for another. Again, there's no turning back for Creator. He has a pretty impressive army. He's got 3 Immortals. But this is all he has. He can go for a reinforcing Warpin as well. Here come the Vipers. Oh, blinding cloud on the army. The Bathers, they crash on forward. And the Ultras, they go to town on this. The Immortals get cleaned up. There's just too much Zerg. The Vials. They connected with the Colossus as well. We clean everything up. GG gets called, and Solar will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. That was pretty back and forth, actually. Despite... Okay, so the first push from Creator had a lot of potential. Like, remember, he killed 17 drones at the start of the game. 17 workers. He was so set up to kill Solar then and there with his first 2 Colossus push. And then he lost his War Prism. Honestly, if he hadn't lost that War Prism, we would have seen a very different game. Even if that attack hadn't killed Solar, Creator would have done so much more with it. He would have been in a much better position even if he was deflected. Like, that was a big moment. That was a massive moment for Solar. He sacrificed his queens to kill that War Prism, and he got it in the end. Again, that allowed, that meant that the Colossi couldn't be micro, they couldn't be juggled, likewise you couldn't reinforce, and from that moment, Solar he was in a leading position, and then Creator came back. He was able to max out himself, able to clean up the army for the most part, have good fights, eventually led into Ultras, and yeah, we had a back and forth game there. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're getting into game number 3. Alright, getting into that third game. One moment though. Hold on, am I blind? Un momento. As we get ready here for game number 3, I do need to quickly check something. I'm actually going to be going on a short intermission, before we get into the rest of this series, and hopefully we're okay. I'll be back shortly. Oh. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew, I do apologize for that break, but yeah, we do have a bit of an issue here, and maybe we'll get into it after this game, as we are going to be getting into game number 3. So I'm a little bit concerned because I've been really enjoying this series, and we're sinking our teeth into it. We're tied up 1-1. It's a best of 5. Which means first to 3 wins, which means we should have at least 2 more ahead of us, maybe even 3 if we go to the ace match when it comes to games. And when it comes to the replay pack provided, I only have 1 replay left. So our replay pack is not complete. Again, these games were played out on Monday, and I mentioned before, but on Monday we had connectivity issues and we couldn't cast live. So we casted the first couple of rounds, and then we ended up raiding Chicken Man. We raided Chicken Man, and Chicken Man he covered the rest of the tournament. We're here to catch up with ESL Asia, and I want to know what happens at the end of the series. We have 1 game, but only 1. And I just reached out to the ESL admins to try to figure out what's going on. They're not available at the moment. So we got 1 more game ahead of us to see who takes the lead in this series, but I guess for now we're gonna pretend it's a best of 3. We're Smurge, Poppy Smurge. We're missing a game. I'm missing 1, maybe 2 games here. But here we go. We're loading in to Hecate for game number 3. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have our South Korean Protoss player representing Club NV. In a tied up series here, representing Club NV, it is Creator. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, tying it up 1-1. Representing onside, it is Solar. Here we go. Oh my god, that's a lot of Denver? I haven't seen Denver in a long time. That's some Denver emotes. Let's go. As we're getting into our gate expand, we're getting into a pretty standard opener here from Creator. Likewise, we have Solar as well, going for the unnatural natural, going for a hatch gas pool. This is something that Dark does as well, where he actually keeps his drone hidden, and he will take his natural. Let's go. Is this worth it? It is inefficient. Fun fact, it's inefficient to delay your expansion for this long and to wait for the probe to move. Sometimes it doesn't pay off and the probe stays there. But Solar, he was waiting for that probe to maneuver elsewhere to check the linear third, and he takes his natural. Oh, let's go. Dark does this as well, if he feels like he can get away with it. Again, it's a really risky maneuver because, again, if the probe doesn't leave, then you're just getting further behind. You're just delaying your expansion for no reason. So with that, Solar, he's able to expand here at his natural base. This tells me that he has a cleaner setup here to defend against a Twilight Council opener, against Glaive Adepts or Dark Templar. He will have a better setup. Oh, okay, Denver Max, I see. I understand. Sorry, I thought you were referring to the player Denver, the French player. Old school, Bobby, old school. Well, for now, y'all, a big shout out to Killer in the chat. D4V3, thank you. I appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Hope you enjoy the emotes added to your collection, and the replay packs as well. We do appreciate the support. Again, all the money that we make here on the channel goes towards our tournaments, so thank you. Do appreciate it. Quack, Bobby, quack. As Solar is going to be taking his 3rd. And we are getting into our openers. Once again, Creator is going for a Stargate opener. We've seen some pretty similar openers out of Creator every game so far in this series. Going for a Stargate first into his Oracles. We saw some kind of Void Ray shenanigans in game number 1. But something that we have to praise here is that Creator, he has been popping off when it comes to his Oracle Harass. And a part of that is also because of Solar. We were harping on it a little bit in the last game, but throughout game 1 and game 2, maybe game 3, Solar has been cutting spores. He has been intentionally delaying spore production, trying to defend with purely Queen and slow Lings, or Queen Ling, and Solar's been punished. Remember, last game he lost 17 drones to Oracle Harass, and Creator didn't lose a single Oracle. And I'm sure Creator wants to try to replicate that. Wants to try to do that once again. And we'll see if Solar continues to cut spores. Oh, there we go. Let's go. We have a spore. Much earlier compared to previously. So it looks like Solar, he's learned his lesson. He has recognized, hold up, tonight at least, Creator, his Oracle control has been insane. I have to respect it, and I will get some spores. At least some. So we have a spore at the natural. The main is still a little bit more exposed, but we should have 3 queens in position. We should be okay. As Creator, he's taking his first Oracle is moving out. And we do find a couple of workers here at the third base, but spores are morphed in, saving the drones in the end, keeping everything alive. You could see that the Creator, he came back hoping that we already had a cancel, just to try to pick off another drone. But Solar, he delays the cancel, keeps him safe. And this time, Solar hasn't lost any drones. 0 drones dead so far. So far, so good. But Creator is looking to change that. Now moving out with 3 Adepts on the ground and 1 Oracle in the air. We have a 3rd Oracle in production as well to meet up with the first. And this is a very different follow-up, by the way. This is a Robo before Twilight Council. This is looking like a much more tech-heavy style here out of Creator. Adepts are going to be threatening that Shade. With this faster Robo, we can get into faster Immortal production, maybe even rush into Colossus. And we will have delayed Blink. Delayed Blink, delayed Charge. Delayed upgrades in general. There we go. Forge is now on the way. And this is what I was referring to at the start of the series, as we do threaten the Shade into the natural. We do have a Link counterattack here at the same time, but there's an Oracle in position. We should shut this down. But this is the build that I was referring to at the very start of the series, where Creator goes for a much more tech-heavy style, where he delays Blink, he delays Charge, goes into a much more Immortal Archon-heavy composition. We commit to the Shade! Get into the natural base, the Lings are going down, we're trying to focus down as many drones as we can. We get 3! And we Shade into the natural as well. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they do not find a way in. The Adepts are forced to recall. But we only lost 1 Adept. A pretty good trade overall. Oh, as the Oracles, they threaten the 3rd. No Spore in position. The drones, they have to be evacuated. 6 drones go down. And Solar's going for a massive counterattack. But we have Adepts back at home. The Adepts are here. We will hold. Behind this, it was a Robo first into a War Prism, actually. Prism's going to be moving out. Charge is on the way. Again, Charge is delayed, but on the way nonetheless. And this should be for Chargelet Archon. Archons should be coming out to reinforce this. There it is. Templar Archives is on the way for said Archons. Solar did invest into a lot of these things, and he has to make use of them somehow, some way. And as Solar's being hyper-aggressive, as he's trying to contain his opponent, we have a Spire thrown down for Solar. Let's go. Gonna try to sneak into Mutas. Bold move. Spire is on the way. Meanwhile, we're going for a second Stargate here. I wonder, have we taken note of the amount of gases that have been taken? So far, we haven't seen the Spire itself. Creator just happens to be going for Phoenixes nonetheless. And Immortals, of course. Again, very Immortal Archon-heavy composition. Drop comes in. Phoenix has been spotted, and we cancel the Spire. Wise move here out of Solar. Spots the Phoenixes ahead of time. He's going to be going to Lingbane Roach Ravager instead. This also means that the Phoenixes, they aren't going to have as much use. They're going to be able to shut down Overseers and shut down Overlords, true, but outside of that, I'm not too sure. I mean, I hope we don't commit too hard to this, as we're just doubling down on Phoenix production. Meanwhile, Solar knocking down these rocks, opening up some attack paths. Additional Phoenixes are on the way. Solar trying to catch out this army. Does get us around. 1 Archon goes down. Big pickoff. Creator, has he been a little bit too greedy? We really don't have much to protect these. Yeah, to protect the High Templar. Forces another Archon. Roach is coming in from behind as well. Yeah, we have to activate the Pulsar Beam. We have to chase down these Roaches. Big Stasis Trap. Solar, he's doubling down. He's cutting workers at 82. I mean, a pretty solid worker count, to be honest. He's just doubling down on Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager. Even waddling the Queens over. Creator, has he been too greedy? Has he been too tech heavy? We're working towards the second robo. Immortal production. Again, the Phoenixes, they're not really helping here. We're going for a Zealot counterattack. We're trying to force a reaction, but Solar, he's committed. He's maxed out at this point. 200 supply. Bailey's speed does kick in. Again, the Phoenixes, what can they do? They do nothing. The fourth base is going to go down. At the same time, these Zealots, they are wreaking havoc. They do get a mineral line. 7 drones. Even 8. Are they going for the base? Up! Oh, and they will get the hatchery. Not a bad pickoff, trading a base for a base. The Creator, he still desperately needs that fourth. Phoenixes, they're doing what they can. They get a Ravager. They're helping, at least a little bit. As Solar, he's remaxed, moving out once again, now collapsing, looking to collapse on this third. Storm is still not done, by the way. We have all these High Templar, but no Storms. Ay, ay, ay. Good force fields. The force fields are being knocked down. So far, the Creator, he does hold. Pretty impressive defense, not gonna lie. Against all odds, against the numbers, Creator, he does hold. He does punish some of these Ravagers. Phoenix is actually getting some decent pickoffs here. Punishing the army, catching more Roaches. Solar backing off. Now, what is worrisome here is that Solar is just now throwing down a Hydroden. Like, this is a mid-tier army, Ling Bane, Roach, Ravager, and it doesn't scale well as the Immortal count gets higher, as Storm kicks in. Like, Creator, he's going for a more higher quality army. Oh! And Solar has been on a one-track mind. He's going for the fourth. Big Storms on the Lings, but we do force a cancel. The bays, they crash in! Oh my god. They do crash in. They get into the mineral line as well. 13 probes go down, and once again, Creator cannot take a fourth. He's been trying desperately to expand. He's double expanding. That's how desperate he is. But this also means that even though Solar has been stuck on Ling Bane, Roach, Ravager, it's still worth it. Like, it's still paying off. He is doing enough. Sure, the army of Creator is getting stronger and stronger, but he just doesn't have the economy to sustain himself. He's just spread too far thin. Doesn't have the numbers, doesn't have any stack defense. And we're going to force a cancel on this Nexus. Up. Hydras have arrived. Slowly transitioning into Ling Bane Hydra. Out of Roach Ravager. We cancel the fourth. We're going to be canceling the fifth. Once Creator, he just wants to expand. Not like this. High Templar! We get both High Templar. Big pickups. So he collapses on these Immortals as well. Creator losing far too much here. Very expensive pickups. At the same time, trying to push on forward. Creator at this point, he's all in. 100% all in. That's a lot. How many Immortals does he have? 9 Immortals. And 5 Archons. Again, this is what Creator does. He builds up a death ball of an army, but he just can't sustain himself, and he's pushing forward. Trying to push in. Have a decent Storm. But we need more than just pure Immortal Archon. We need a buffer. We need Stalkers, Zealots. Creator, he does have 1k minerals in the bank. How many gateways do we have? We do have 8 gates. That's okay. Here we go, pushing our way up this ramp. Creator essentially 3-base all in. He's gaining ground. But the Lings come in to reinforce. And this army is slowly becoming actually just pure Immortal Archon. Oh my god. Files are going to be connecting. We're trying to break through. We're trying to break in, but alas, we just cannot. Massive files here on the Prism. Prism goes down. And Solar will clean this up. GG gets called. Solar taking game number 3, taking a lead in the specify. GG. GG, well played. Oh. And I wonder. GG, well played. And with that solo, he does take a lead in the series. And do I have our next game here? Potentially. Hold on. We need to figure this out. Okay, so I was contacted by our lovely admins here. So for those wondering, again, it's a best of 5. We still have a couple of games left, but I have run out of replays. But it looks like I have just gotten a stack of them. Oh, we got him! Let's go! We do have our next game here. We're getting into game number 4, and game 4 is going to be on... Here we go. Game 4 is going to be on Site Delta. Whew. Big shout out to Icecar. Icecar, he's our ESL admin. Fun fact, Icecar isn't even at home. He's like off, like commuting on his phone talking to me. He's like, man, I got you. You just sent me a replay pack. Let's go. Vámonos. As we are loading into Site Delta and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our South Korean Zerg player representing Team Onside, leading the series 2-1. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss representing Club NV. It is Creator. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted. Okay, but talking about that last game, talking about the warp-ins as well, I wonder, because we did have 1k minerals in the back, if Creator was able to actually hit his warp-ins, maybe have up to 10, even 12, oh my, 10 or even 12, as we get our hatch on location again, 10 or even 12 gateways, and Creator's actually able to spend his money and invest into Zealots, really Zealots more than anything, because he didn't have any gas, he only had minerals. Would he have been able to break through? Potentially. I mean, Solar, he barely held on. Like, it was surprisingly close how well the army of Creator was trading. If we were able to warp in another 10 plus Zealots here to support, could we have broken through? I think so, actually. I think we could have broken through the main army. I don't know if it would have been enough to snowball and end the game and win it for Creator, but it would have been much closer. Like, again... it would have been much closer, and again, like, I'm just so surprised by how well, or how terrifying that army, that like 9 immortal army was from Creator in that last game. It's crazy. But here we go, we're getting into our next game. Whew. Once again, Solar able to get into his hatch gas pool. Able to get into a standard opener. With this hatch at his natural location, this should deter a Twilight Council opener, especially on Site Delta where we have a ramp leading into the natural. It's very difficult to make Glaive Adepts work. The reason why I say this is because we get our natural up and running, we have creep here covering the ramp, and we're able to throw down our tech as a part of a wall, and we're able to fully wall off and shut down, again, Glaive Adepts really early on. So we'll see what kind of direction Creator does take us in. He's been going for a Stargate every game so far. I imagine we're going to be seeing that again. Here we go. Now that is cute. Oh, it's the tuna. It's jamming, Bobby. It's jamming. And oh my god, as I was talking about how a Twilight Council would be deterred here, for the first time this series, we do have a Twilight Council opener out of Creator. Twilight Council has been thrown down. We'll keep our eye on the gases. Now, if he does pull out a gas, this is going to be a Glaive Adept variation. If he stays in, we could see a Dark Shrine opener instead. Overlord trying to come in for a scout is denied by the Stalker, and we can see we haven't pulled out a gas. Dark Shrine. Dark Shrine is on the way. If we stay in gas and if it's Glaives, then we can go up to 6 Gate Glaive Adepts for a 2-base all-in, or we can go Glaives in conjunction with Dark Templar as well. That's just that's the kind of tell here to know to separate one from the other. But it is going to be DTs with a Dark Templar opener. It isn't just about the Dark Templar dealing damage. Even if there's detection, even if they don't get too many workers, you can always back off. You can save them, you can preserve them, and get into an Archon drop instead. Here we go. Meanwhile, back at home, ooh, we do have a pretty early Roach Warren here. This was around a 350-ish Roach Warren from Solar. Very early, very safe here. I'm not going to say aggressive, just safe overall, especially considering that he has correctly identified it is a Twilight Council. He doesn't know if it's Glaives or Dark Templar. He's still not fully aware if it's one or the other, especially with these Adepts revealing themselves. So Creator, he's trying to sell a story. If Solar is convinced that it's going to be Glaive Adepts, then he won't throw down Spores. And for the time being, 0 Spore Crawlers. Uh-oh. Okay, Spores, they just now start up. Dark Templar are on the way, but the Spores, they just began. We could even get on top of them. DTs, they're actually going to connect with the Queens instead. But there we go, they're going straight for the Spore. Is it going to finish? One Queen does go down, but you get a second. The Spore is going to be cancelled. And with that, the Adepts go down, but the DTs, they can take control of this third base. Instead of going for the hatchery, they are going for the Queens. A bit of wasted DPS. Not too sure if I'm fond of it. Additional Dark Templar on the way. One DT gets caught out. And we're going for the hatchery, but I don't think we can get it. Yeah, the Queens, they arrive just in time. The Spore as well. And this could have been disastrous. This could have been disastrous here for Solar, but he saves his hatchery in the end. And yeah, I'm not too in love with Creator going for the Queens. They are valuable pickups, don't get me wrong, but it's possible that he could have killed this hatchery. Alas, it does survive. Meanwhile, we have a massive lane counterattack, and the DTs are not going to be enough. We force a cancel on the third base. Ay. No, it's Creator. He tries to take another third, and it's going to be canceled as well. There's no saving it. Denying both third bases, and we're going for another. Not again. Solar, can he deny it for a third time? No shot. Okay, this time he won't. Thankfully. Creator, he just wants to expand. Just wants a base. We'll save it. But again, that was brutal. This third is so heavily delayed here for Creator. Archons have been morphed in. Behind this, we're getting in towards charge. We catch a Stalker. At the same time, Dark Templar, they do catch a couple of workers here at the third. An Overseer has arrived. We have plenty of detection. These Dark Templar are going to be forced out. They get a Roach. And another drone. Not bad. Not too bad. The game is going to settle for a moment. Interesting that Creator is still committed to Dark Templar harass instead of Archon harass. Keeping the Archons back at him to defend. And yeah, he's getting into a charged out Archon Immortal base composition. So, oh my god, we're being so adventurous. So a very robust army, very similar to the previous game, but very immobile. Not too many Blink Stalkers. As a result, Creator is going to be stuck defending back at home. Meanwhile, second Robo's on the way for double Immortal production. So we should be building up again towards a very similar composition to last game. It is a tough start here for Creator. He's taking a fourth this time, and he should be able to hold on to it, but it's just such a delayed third. And Solar should be able to drone up to 4-base saturation without too much issue. Should be able to. That's also why it's so important that Creator is active with this army. It's very bold of him to move out with a handful of units like this, like 3 Archons and 1 Sentry. But he has a recall available, he can force field. And he has to find something. Gets a tumor, he has to get the hell out of here. Oh god. Trading with the Lings, and he is forced to recall. And won't lose any of his units. At the same time, Archon drop into the main. We do get into the mineral line. Solar out of position. He's out of position because he's going across the map, sending everything out towards the third base. He catches an Immortal. Immortal's going to go down. We have a shield battery. We have an overcharge, but that's a free Immortal here for Solar. He's pushing on through. We have the overcharge. Does keep the army alive. And Creator, he's going to hold on for a moment. But Solar, he just has to wait out that overcharge and come in again. Got the probes. Three of them get caught out. Solar pushing towards that natural. We do have a good positioning from Creator, attacking from both angles. But Solar, he pushes towards the natural. He gets another Immortal. There's no shield battery. No shield battery here at the natural base. Ay, ay, ay. Solar, he diverts his attention towards the third. He picks up an Archon. There's just not enough here to support. Yeah, it looks like this third base has been broken. There's just too much Zerg, just too many Roaches. GG gets called, and Solar takes the series 3-1, becoming this week's ESL Open Cup Asia champion. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Solar. Again, really punishing the Dark Templar opener of his opponent. We canceled the third base twice before finally throwing it down. Like, again, just a really shaky follow-up out of Creator, which did impact his economy, which likewise impacted his army size as well. That's why he was so vulnerable at that moment to the attack of his opponent. Likewise, he was also rushing into a faster fourth because he had to make up for his late third with a faster fourth, and as a result, he was vulnerable. As a result, Solar was there to punish him. But even though this was a 3-1 score, even though on paper this was a little bit more one-sided, this was a really great series, actually. It was it was really good. It was really good. The first, especially 3 games of this series, I feel were very close, very back and forth. Even the game on Hecate, we mentioned that if Creator was able to get his warp-ins going, if he was able to reinforce, spend his minerals, because he had over 1,000 minerals in the bank, his all-in that he was forced into, I mean, even that was really close. Even that almost broke Solar then and there, just because of the sheer amount of Immortals and Archons that he had. It was crazy. This game here was more one-sided, is what I will say. Game 4 had a lot to live up to compared to the rest of the series, and Solar was able to shut Creator down a lot earlier. This is the risk you take when you go for a Twilight Council opener. Twilight Council openers, they're built around getting economic damage done and getting an advantage early on, and if you don't, it's hard to recover from that. And you know, Creator, he kind of put himself in that position, as opposed to a more economic Stargate opener, for example. So game 4 was was a little bit less back and forth and less close, but every other game solid here from both Creator and Solar. GG, well played. And with that wraps up our coverage here of ESL Open Cup Asia. Beautiful. It was a great tournament here. It was almost 5 hours. Oh my god. I did not expect it to go on for this long. 4.5 hours here. The stream did go down earlier, unfortunately. I do apologize for that. In the middle of Oliveira versus Solar, stream did go down. But thank you everyone who did stick around for that and who did wait for us to come back online. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. And hope you guys had a great time here. Hope you guys enjoyed the cast. For those that are curious, this is a weekly tournament, and we are always here to cover it. We should be back next week, next Monday, for ESL Open Cup Asia 204. We'll be back. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. For now, we are going to be done here with our broadcast. We're going to be back tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow with... What are we casting tomorrow, actually? Do we have it? Hold on, I'm checking my calendar. Just double checking. No, sorry. Oh my god, I forgot. Tomorrow, for the first time since... I'm checking the calendar. For the first time since August the 15th. So it's been a couple of months. For the first time since August, we get a day off. we have a day off. We've been casting every single day outside of that. And the reason why we have a day off, 2 reasons. 1, World Team League is on hiatus. World Team League is taking a week off, so usually we cast WTL on Fridays. not tomorrow, as it's on hiatus. But there's a reason why it's on hiatus. Home Story Cup. Home Story Cup is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We got some Home Story Cup action going on, so make sure you're a part of that. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be an amazing tournament. We even have a Duckling at Home Story Cup as well, as Dolan has traveled to Germany and is going to be there in person, live at the event. One of the ducks, Pappy, one of the ducks. It's going to be beautiful. So Dolan's going to be there. We won't be a part of the broadcast. They will have a B stream, but I believe the B stream is being covered by Steadfast. Steadfast, he's going to be covering that on his own channel. We will most likely do a replay cast. Home Story Cup, it's at an awful time for us. We're here in Australia. Home Story Cup usually is like 10 p.m. to like 8 a.m. for us. It's not good. It's not and I would love to ruin my sleep schedule and stay up for it. And I would. The problem is that we are casting other events over the weekend, and I have to be awake for those. So I have to sleep at some point. Over the weekend, we're going to be live with KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, GPO, Grand Platypus Open, Oceanic Bi-Weekly Tournament, and Sparkling Tuna Cup, our own open weekly tournament as well. So we're going to be live with our own events, but Home Story Cup will be also going on as well in the evening. So plenty of StarCraft going on over the weekend. But again, we don't have anything lined up for tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, we don't have anything lined up for tomorrow. Technically, I could do a replay cast. I totally could. I could like do a replay cast of ESL Masters Winter. Like the replays were released publicly, and there's some really good matches there. So I'm tempted, but it would also be nice to take a day off for once. it would be nice. I say that I'm probably going to be streaming. I'm probably going to be having a ladder session on my own personal channel. You can follow me. Hold on. You can follow myself if you're interested. Bam. Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream whenever I'm not casting, and tomorrow I can actually stream. I'm very rusty because we've been casting on a daily basis. I actually don't have time to ladder. I have very limited time to ladder, and because of that, it's like I've just been stagnating, if not just receding in skill, unfortunately. So yeah, we're gonna have to try to shake off all the rust and get back into the swing of things. So if you're interested, probably going to be laddering at some point tomorrow over on my own personal channel. Otherwise, you can follow us on the CranKy Ducklings. All things CranKy Ducklings. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Discord server as well. !YouTube in the chat, where you can get some daily YouTube content we do upload on a daily basis. Sometimes, or usually multiple times a day as well, because we have so much content to share on YouTube. So again, if you can't tune in live, we got you covered over on YouTube instead. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. You can also support us on Discord. If you're on our Discord server and if you're a subscriber, we do send out replay packs to our subscribers. So if you want to learn, examine, and study some Serral VODs, some Serral replays, or some Raynor, some Clem, Maru, Björn, all things StarCraft really, then we do share our replay packs. For tournaments we have the permission to share, like Kung Fu Cup, STC, GPO, OSC. We do share replays, so we got you covered there. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Home Story Cup. We won't be casting tomorrow, but enjoy Home Story Cup. Again, it's always a great tournament to be a part of, always a great tournament to tune into. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Oh, otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid, so stick around and enjoy. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Bye. Hasta luego.